Welcome back. I'm Dr. Conseco.
I'm Dr. Eisfelder.
And this is
The Frontline ER.
We got a new series. We're going to talk about common misconceptions that people have about doctors.
Specifically, resident doctors.
We've overheard people talking about us in the grocery stores, and we'd like to clear the air.
We're standing right behind you and you don't even know it.
COVID-19 has really brought all of healthcare and all of its workers to the public's attention.
Yay!
Yay for us.
So we're being told by various articles in newspapers what we should be wearing, what we should be making in terms of pay, where we can be allowed to live, if we're even allowed to keep our kids in custody battles.
That's none of our business. Everyone has a lot of opinions, but so do we.
Are you ready? The only way that we can talk about misconceptions about resident doctors is if you even know who we are and what we do.
We're resident doctors, which means we operate under like an apprenticeship model where we are learning the specialty that we've chosen.
And you can't tell, but we've actually been through a lot.
We aged well. Thanks, Mom.
Woo! So we've actually been through 4 years of college already with at least one major. Some people like me get 2.
Yeah, Latin major over here. Real helpful. Then we do 4 years of medical school, where we spend the first 2 years learning the basic fundamentals of medical science. It's a lot of topics.
The second 2 years is where we're going into other specialties. We're practicing as student doctors, where we are going to decide what we want to do for the rest of our lives.
And then we graduate as medical doctors, or MDs.
Actually, it stands for Medicinae Doctor.
The Latin major coming through for you. At which point we undergo our specialty training as residents, which can last anywhere from like 3 to 10 years depending on the specialty that you've chosen. And there are a lot of specialties to choose from.
It's overwhelming. But we have chosen ours as emergency medicine.
Most badass specialty there is. We choose a residency through a vigorous interviewing and match process. It involves basically, it's like a sports draft.
Difference being we don't have negotiation power. We get told where we're going, when we show up, what we will get paid, done.
It's also legally binding. You gotta show up there on July 1st to report for duty. Whether you think that's magic or voodoo,
or breaking antitrust laws,
we'll leave that up to you.
There are times you've probably interacted with residents and didn't even know it. We walk into a room and introduce ourselves as doctors because as soon as we graduated from medical school, we are doctors.
And the attendings are our supervisors. They oversee all of our medical care and they basically teach us about our specialty. The difference between us is that they've completed a residency program and are now board certified in that particular specialty.
We want you to know what our role is because every single role in a hospital is so important. It's a very fragile ecosystem. We are the workhorses on the doctor side of things.
And just because we're young and female doesn't mean that we're physician's assistants.
Or nurse practitioners.
Or nurses.
To date, we have been training for 11 years.
And counting. We're licensed medical doctors. So now that you know who we are, now we can talk about all the misconceptions you have about us.
Because you guys are very opinionated about doctors. Yeah. And we read those comments on those articles.
So stay tuned for misconception number 1.
But you're a doctor, you must make the big bucks.